grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Yay! Good morning, everyone. All right. Yes, don't you feel the blessing? Okay, all right. Well, it's so good to see Madeline and Abe and Eileen and Coco coming in from the West Coast. Well, Abe and Eileen are not. And Marty and Zizi is recovering from surgery. She came through fine and she's doing well. And so, you know, we were praying for her and that was true too. So anyway, Mike, how about getting us started today?
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Well, good morning. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. We're the Center for Spiritual Living, West Georgia. We study and practice the philosophy and science of the mind we know as God. And with our spiritual presence and participation in our service this morning, we create a higher state of consciousness, rise above any negative energy that may have prevailed this past week, and manifest love. We know love is synonymous to God. Our Reverend Master Teacher, Reverend Dr. Sandra Jackson, has been keeping us informed this past week and will now proceed with our service. Reverend?
Thank you so very much, Mike. Yes, it is so good to be alive. Just take that in for a moment. Do you know you may think that you woke up because the alarm clock woke you up this morning. But you know what? That alarm would kept on going and going and going and going if the spirit of life did not wake you up this morning. It is that breath of life that woke you up this morning. And then you turned off the alarm. Ha ha, yes. So let us close our eyes, turn within, and know in this very moment that the spirit of life is alive and well and vibrating and expressing and fully being all that it could possibly be through each and every one of us this day. With every breath we take, we know that this is who we are. With every breath we take, we breathe in that breath of life. We breathe in the love. We breathe in the joy. We breathe in the enthusiasm. We breathe in deep gratitude for our simply being alive. And through that aliveness, we have the opportunity to make choices and live lives of abundance, of peace, of gratitude, and to express the love in our heart to each and every person that we meet. With this life within us, we have the power to be all that we can possibly be, to be in alignment with the truth of who we are, and to express it fully and completely in all areas of our life. But it all begins with our waking up in the morning with the breath of life within us. And so I give thanks this morning that each one of us woke up this morning with the breath of life. And so it is. Amen.
So it is.
Okay, so let us begin with our vision and mission statement and our declaration of principles. Marcia.
Good morning. Our vision and mission statement follows. CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. In our declaration of principles, I believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. There is one life of which I am a part, one intelligence which I use, one substance which takes form as my life. And so it is.
Okay. And this morning's music is by Jennifer Ferren. How nice to have her back again. Welcome, Jennifer.
Unmute myself. Hello, everyone. Happy Holy Days. So I'm going to share a song that I wrote back in 2014. Can you believe it's 2020, everybody? Can you believe it's almost 2021, for crying out loud?
Wow.
I hold a vision of the life I choose today, and then patiently I wait. So much good's already coming to me now, as I consciously awake. And I am open, God willing. Can you sing that with me? I am open, God willing. And I'm trusting Father time along the way, even when I miss my mark. And I'm learning there are really no mistakes, only brilliant works of heart. And I am open, God willing. I am open, God willing. And let the past all fade away. And every day I'm unfolding to the joy I have created, to the one who has created me. I see my path so clearly right in front of me, and I follow where it goes. As in a vision comes, I let it carry me, and I surrender to the flow. And sing it with me. I am open, God willing. I am open, God willing. Sing it like you mean it now. I am open, God willing. One more time. I'm open, God willing.
So thank you for the opportunity to sing along. And the nice thing about singing along is nobody else has to hear you because we're all on mute, right? So sing along, yay! I just love that. I can be off tune and nobody cares because nobody's here but the dog. Okay. All right. And Jennifer sounds great. And she's the most important one. Thanks, Jennifer. That was wonderful. All right. I love it. All right. So Marcia is doing our reading this morning. She's busy lady today. Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
the call is out. We're going to answer, right?
Right.
All right. So our reading today was written by Donna Shaper. She's a United Church of Christ minister and discovers truths about herself while refinishing a chair, as does an Episcopal priest, Barbara Cawthorn Crafton, while sewing. So these two people have discovered some things. All right, here we go. The first thing people do when restoring old chairs is strip. Strip right down to the bare wood. They do this to see what the original might have looked like and to determine if the thing is worth doing over. They strip away all the years of grime, the garnish coats of paint piled one on top of the other. They get rid of all the junk that's been tacked on through the years and try to find the solid, simple thing that's underneath. I'm like an old chair needing that stripping process. Every now and then I have to take a really hard look at the illusions I've built up in myself and my society. See what I've gotten myself into. Illusions? Yes, illusions. The excess baggage I carry around, the unnecessary, the socially expected, all that keeps me living off center for too long. Stripping myself of all this is an intentional letting go of these illusions. It is a spiritual act of personal forgiveness. God lets us let go. It's hard work to let God forgive me. I have to discover the original under all these coats I've added, strip away all the cynicism and anger I've built up, get rid of the junk I've taken on, defy my disappointments, and find what is real again. And so it is. It appears that we've lost Reverend Sandra. Okay. Um, she is not online right now. So I am going to ask Miss Jennifer. I mean, I know that you didn't plan on 3 songs, but do you have something that you can just play for us quickly while we see? Oh, here comes Reverend Sandra. She's popping back on. Okay, let's see. I know, right? It, she doesn't have, here she is. There she
This is what happens when you let amateurs run the show. They forget the power. Okay. Are you finished? Fortunately, I know what.
We're good. It's all, we were about to start improvising, but
Oh, yeah. It's like all of a sudden the screen went black and I was like, power. Anyway, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Okay. All right. Today. Today's talk this month is on celebrating divine truth. And today's talk is on preparing the way. And I was like, preparing the way. So let me ask you this. Where are we going? Because if you're preparing the way, you're preparing the way for going somewhere, right? I mean, you wake up in the morning and you prepare. What are you preparing for? You're preparing for, work or play or exercise or walking the dog or calling a friend or going on Zoom, watching TV or, or coming to church. You're preparing for something. Okay. So my question is, what are we preparing when we're celebrating the divine truth? So I want to take a step back for a minute. I live in Roswell, and several years ago, I used to go to meetings in Atlanta pretty frequently, and the drive down 400 is pretty. It's very pretty, and they had lots of trees. There were places where there were almost trees were almost in like a forest stand, right? And I enjoyed the ride. And then several years ago, they started cutting down trees. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they're cutting down more trees and more trees and more trees. And they're all along 400 and 285. There's all these tree stands are just disappearing. And it's like, what's going on? I asked people, nobody seemed to know. I went online to, what's it, GDOT or something, and they didn't have an answer. You know, there was nothing. What's going on 400? You put that in Google, nothing comes up. It's like, okay, well, let's wait and see. And so as we waited and see, then the bulldozers came. Okay. And then the bulldozers came and they cleared the land and they moved dirt, and they, you know, you look and you go like, what on earth is doing? Because they would move dirt to one place, and then, you know, a few weeks or months later, they would move it some more someplace else, right? And then they come and put that green stuff that makes grass to keep stuff from blowing around, I guess. Anyway, all this stuff is going on, and you're still going, what is going on? This went on for quite some time. And then finally you start to realize they are building something. They are building a new interchange, a new spaghetti junction at the intersection of 400 and 285. Okay, so it's gonna look like all these flyovers, and they're still in the process of doing that, right? Okay, so they're still in the process of doing that. And so anyway, I am just like, what on earth is going on here? All the time they were preparing the way. It's not finished, by the way. They've got the one flyover going from 400 south to 285 east. That one's done. You can fly over in the air. Okay. And the others are not done yet. But it's obvious what is going on and what they're building. But you know, they were preparing a way. Even when we didn't know what was going on, they were preparing a way. Think about that. Think about the times in your life that you were preparing and you didn't know what you were preparing for. You know, but things were happening in your life and you're going like, what is going on? Hasn't that this last year? I mean, this is December. Isn't this last year been one of those years? I mean, we remember last January? We were planning for an ordinary year, right? Excuse me. We were planning for an ordinary year, you know, thinking about what we wanted to do for this. And did we want to do that? And, you know, we were busy with our jobs and school or whatever it was that we were doing. We were busy living normal, ordinary lives. And then all of a sudden there's this mysterious disease and people are dying and people are getting sick and nobody knows why. We haven't been prepared for this, right? I mean, there was no preparation, okay? It was just like all of a sudden, like we went to church on March 15th and I wasn't sure how many people would show up. And a few people did. And we were like, well, are we going to be here next Sunday? We don't know. And as it turned out, we were not. The 22nd of March, we were online and everything changed. It started rolling kind of at the beginning of March. People, you know, were starting to realize they were going to have to do some things that were different. And then all of a sudden you got New York having all these mysterious cases and hospitals filling up and, you know, one thing after another and people going like, oh, you have to stay home. You have to social distance. Nobody can go out. It's like, what do you mean nobody can go out? Okay, I mean, we haven't been prepared for this. You didn't give us any warning. I mean, yeah, I mean, I know some people were sick, but really? We all have to stay home? We all have to keep the kids out of school? We all have to figure out how to do all this virtual stuff? We all have to figure it out like now? There was no preparation for any of this? I mean, what? You know, it's like, did your head spin around like, what's that movie? The Exorcist, or their head spun around? Did your head spin around like, woo, what happened here? Okay, it's like, and then what happened after that? Then we're in Georgia, right? So we're next to Kentucky. What do we hear? We've been hearing about the killing of Breonna Taylor, and we're going like, what? A woman killed in her bed? What? Our head spinning again, right? Then George Floyd, and the country explodes with protests, not just us, but all over the world. You know, you're looking at TV and going like, what are they protesting George Floyd in London for? Okay, and Australia and Kenya. I mean, come on. The whole world is protesting. Not just, they use George Floyd as a symbol for stuff that was going on in their own countries. So now we have a name for it, pandemic, okay? And now we have pandemic and protests, all right? And now people are going like, I didn't understand all this was what's been going on? I mean, like we've been walking around with our head in the sand for the last 50 years? Okay. So here we are. This year has been one thing after another. Oh, excuse me. As soon as the protests were over, what happened next? Now we have this controversy about, do we wear a mask? Do we wear a mask or don't we wear a mask? Okay, well, a mask will help save other people. Well, but it's against my freedom. I have the freedom to wear it or not wear it. But look at all these people who are getting sick because people are continuing to get sick, okay? And then, not just get sick, they are dying. They are dying in record numbers, okay? All right, so we have all this stuff going on. Then we have, on top of all of that, an election. It's sort of like you go like, God, can you give us any more to handle? So we have an election, and the normal election is you find out the next morning, at least you know who the winner is, and it's all over and done and things move on. Not this year. Not this year. We got pandemics, we got death, we got protests. We have an election without a winner. Okay, all right, so here we go. Once again, it's like over and over and over and over. So my question is, did I miss anything? So much has happened. What are we being prepared for? Think about your own life. When you have disruption in your life, something big is going on. Think about it. Something big is going on. I have had people come to me and say, oh, Reverend Sandra, I lost my job. I got fired or I got laid off and I don't know what I'm going to do. Here is a big opportunity because 9 times out of 10, that person has told me in some form or another, I don't like my job. I don't like being here. I want a new one. But they didn't move because it wasn't enough money, or they had to change cities, or they had to disrupt their life in some way. And so they waited and waited and waited, but they kept praying and wanting something new. You don't even have to formally pray. You can just be walking around going like, gee, I'm not happy here. I wish I was someplace else. That's thoughts. Thoughts become things, and it will disrupt your life. But we don't prepare for it, do we? We don't think in terms of, oh, I'm preparing for this change. The change comes and we go like, what? What happened? Right? Okay. But we've been asking for it all along. Think about the last 20 years. I remember when consciousness was a word, well, let me put it this way. Within religious science, we had our own language. Okay? If you've been around religious science a long time, you know we had our own language. We talked about things like law of attraction, the law of giving and receiving. We talked about consciousness raising. We talked about, being the Christ and calling each other and saying, well, you're the Christ and you're the Christ. And people, you couldn't say that outside of religious science. You couldn't say that because people outside didn't understand what you were saying. And you would say, as ministers, we would preach and say, each one of us is expressing God, but we couldn't say that outside of our communities because people didn't understand. It was, what do you mean you're God? What do you mean you have power to create in your life? What do you mean you're a co-creator? And now everybody says, oh, I co-create my life in one form or another. They know that thoughts are things. They know that consciousness is about, is how we create. They know that there's a universality and that there's a unity of oneness that we all have. They all know that. They may use different words. Science even tells us that it's true. So everybody knows it. So we have, for the last 20 or more years, we have, as humankind, we've been pushing up this consciousness, this idea that we are more than what we see. And it's finally bursting through. And in true to human form, we have been ignoring stuff. And what happens? It all bursts through at once. And we're not done, okay? We're not, oh, you didn't remind me. There's one more thing I forgot. The vaccines. The vaccines are here. They're on their way. They were on trucks this morning. Yay, hallelujah. Guess what? You're not going to be getting one unless you're an essential worker. All right, go. Wait. We're going to be, when? Next 6 months, another 6 months before the rest of us can get it. And if you're under 65, you're going to wait a lot longer. Okay? So guess what? We're still going to be dealing with this stuff. It's not going away. So what is it that we are preparing for? We who have believed this stuff for over 50 years, we who've been studying the science of mind, we who've been teaching it, believing it, living our lives in accordance with it, are in the forefront, and we are responsible for preparing the way for everybody else. And if you think about it, what we've been talking about all this year is what? Inclusivity and compassion. Inclusivity and compassion. And today we're celebrating the divine truth. So think about that. There's a book I like. It's one of my favorites. Eileen, you'll love this one too. It's called Putting on the Mind of Christ by Jim Marion. See, here's the thing. It took me several years to figure this out, several years of being a minister, but I finally realized Ernest Holmes gave us a vision of the very highest place of spiritual consciousness that you could be. That place where you were totally and completely knowing consciously that there was no difference between you and God, that you were God expressing. Think of it this way. You come into human form, okay? And it's sort of like you walk into a play. How many actors have you heard, really good actors, okay? I think Daniel Day-Lewis is one of them. He says, I am going to play, he played Lincoln, remember? He said, I played Lincoln and I became Lincoln. Outside of, when I was acting as part of the role, I was being Lincoln, but when I was home with my family, I was also being Lincoln. He said it was very confusing for them. I saw an interview with him. He said it's very confusing, but because he was talking like Lincoln, right? That's what we're doing. We're in character. We're in character as a human being. Now he goes home after he plays his role, takes off his Lincoln character and becomes Daniel Day-Lewis again. But we stay in that character. We forget. We go unconscious. We forget that we are spirit and that we are just playing a character called whatever we're calling ourselves in this lifetime. And I don't know if there's more lifetimes. Some people believe there is. I don't want to get into that. The thing is that whatever you're calling yourself right now, today, that is a character. That is your human character. It is not who you are. And Ernest Holmes tried to tell us, you are spirit. You are Christ. You are divine. You are holy. Every place, everything you do, every place you are is holy ground. You are always in a holy place. And so in the putting on the mind of Christ, he goes through all these various levels. And then he goes into one section called the dark night of the soul. We've all heard of that. Okay, he talks about the dark night of the senses, but I want to talk about the dark side. The dark night of the senses comes before the dark night of the soul, but this is the dark night of the soul, I think is more appropriate for today. And he says, the dark night of the soul is the central mystery in the evolution of human consciousness on this planet. A principal purpose, and perhaps the primary purpose of Jesus's cross and resurrection, was to act out for us this death and rebirth. We enter the dark night understanding ourselves to be mere human beings, sinful and moral, but we come out of this profound spiritual passage with the realization of our sinless, immortal divinity. And then he goes on to talk about the sufferings in the dark night that are intense. And he says there's 4 principal causes for them, but I only want to talk about 3 because those are the 3 that, are pertinent for today. The first is intellectual. And the intellectual has to do with realizing who we really are. Like I said, we're like characters in a play. We're this human thing is people are dying. What are they doing? They're taking off this human form. And we feel bad because why? We become attached to that human form. Now, I'm not saying that we don't want to grieve, because that's what we do as humans. But we also have to remember that that's not the totality of who we are. That is not the essence of who we are. It's not who we really are. It's not the truth of our being. We are humans. We're being a character. Okay. All right. And the next is purifying emotions. And emotions, he says, we have to stop giving away our power to authorities other than ourselves. We cannot claim our divinity and realize the Christ consciousness so long as we are giving away our power to others. Letting other people make decisions for you. When you have a decision to make, don't look at the other person and say, how many times we go to a restaurant and we say, what are you having? Doesn't matter what they're having. What are you having? What goes well with your system? What do you want right now? But we always want to look and see what somebody else is doing, what somebody else is having. That's giving away our power. Because what happens? We make decisions based on what they say. Okay? Sit down in the restaurant, look at the menu and say, what do I want? And then when they ask you, what do you have? You can tell them. Okay? That's different. That's different. All right. Purifying emotions is also about learning to love. We must learn to love. Now, you're not going to like this. Everyone. No exceptions. Every single person. Even the ones who are acting all stupid. Keep in mind, they don't know who they are. That's why they're acting stupid. Did you get that? That's why they're acting that way, because they don't know who they are. But you can look at them and go, I know the divine in you. I know you're more than you think you are. I know you better than you know yourself. But you don't tell them. You just treat them that way. Okay? You just treat them with love and with patience and with kindness, because we're all in this together. All right? They're experiencing the pandemic too. Some people are having a really hard time with it. And some people are like, hey, this is pretty nice. I get to stay home and not be around other people. People are telling me stay home, and I'm like, yay, I want to. I always wanted to work from home. Finally, I get a chance to, and it's legal, you know? Okay, so he goes on to say, the third one, transpersonal. And transpersonal is about taking, wait for it, the world's negativity and transmuting it into love. Taking the world's negativity and transmuting. So how do you do this? This is about realizing your oneness with others and empathizing and being compassionate, because others are in pain, they're suffering, and we have to love them through their grief and their sorrow, through their fear and their anxiety, loving them through all the struggles, for they do not necessarily know that they have the power to be their own authority. Do you see? But you know this. And you cannot now not know it. It's only the degree to which you will practice it. So loving is the biggest thing. And when you love, what do? You create peace. And we can't necessarily create whole world peace. We can create peace where we are. We can create peace with our family and with our friends. We don't have to argue with them. We can let their negativity just go like, you just let them just say whatever they're saying and look at them and just think to yourself. Think to yourself. Don't say, because you create more stuff, okay? Think to yourself. You're just a human. You're just a spiritual being having a human tantrum. A tantrum of fear and unhappiness and whatever else, that you're feeling right now. But it's only temporary. Don't worry, it'll pass. Because I'm going to love you through it. I'm not going to give you any reason to be arguing and be fussing with me. Just think loving thoughts. Send them love balls. You would be amazed when you stop providing a place for someone else to have their anger, their fear, their powerlessness directed at you. When you become a place of complete peace and love, and you just think to yourself, I'm going to love you no matter what you do. I'm going to have compassion and empathy no matter what you do. I'm just going to be that way. Just start with one person. Start with one person that you've been having a hard time with. The next time you talk to them, just don't give them anything to attach to, because see, that's what happens is they get angry. It touches that place within us that is angry. And next thing you know, we're going back and forth like this with our anger. But if you stop and you go like, I am pure love, I am spirit, I am being pure spirit, I am being loving. When they go bam like that, guess what? It doesn't hook anything. There's no hook on there. There's no attachment. And so therefore, it has to what? Bounce back at them, and they look at themselves and go like, what happened? Okay? And you know what? They'll want to be around you because you're a place of peace. Years ago, I had a friend who used to run a group for children in our schools, and they were called natural helpers. And what they did was they asked the teachers, which kids are the kids that other kids go to and talk to and tell them what's going on? Those were natural helpers. They were spirit come to form, being available as deep, loving listeners. But we didn't call them that. We called them natural helpers. Do you see? Be a natural helper. And in order to be a natural helper, you have to be aligned yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to be a place of love. So the work we do first is what? with ourselves, with ourselves. We have to do that. And in case you think that I'm just making all this stuff up, this is what Ernest Holmes has to say. He says, who is Christ? Christ is the Son begotten of the only Father, not the only begotten Son of God. The mystical concept of Christ means the universality of sonship. The universality that, in other words, sonship is everywhere. It's all of us. Embodied in that universality is embodied in any individual who recognizes this sonship. So anybody who recognizes that they are divine, they are divine. He says, the eternal is forever begetting that which is the realization of its own perfection. It is an eternal process. It is the Son of God, and the Son of God is who? Christ. And each one of us is that. He goes on to say that each partakes of the Christ nature to the degree that the Christ is revealed through him, and to that degree becomes the Christ. So it's degrees. It's sort of like building that freeway. We start a little bit at a time. We move a little here, we move a little there. Dirt, that is, junk, fear, anger, we move it out of the way. We get rid of it. And then we start to build. We build a consciousness of love, a consciousness of peace, a consciousness of joy, a consciousness of wisdom and creativity, a consciousness of abundance, a consciousness that is Christ's nature. We should turn, he says, to the living presence within, which is the Father in heaven, and recognize it as the one and only power in the universe. Unify with it, declare it, and our word to be declare our word to be the presence, power, and activity of the one. So what he is saying here is that you and I, every word we speak is divine. Let it be a conscious word of divinity. Do you see? Let us think about what we're saying and doing and being, and be the love that you are, because that is who you are. You are Christ. Christ. I am Christ. And I have been being prepared through all this year to all next year. Be that divinity and celebrate the wholeness that you are. Celebrate the beingness. Wake up each morning knowing the breath of life in you has awakened you, and that through that awakening, you are getting to once again be the living, breathing expression of the divine in the world. Be that. Be that. And so it is. Let us turn within. And in this moment, there is absolutely no place within us where we are in doubt. There is no place within us that is in fear. All of the anger, anxiety has all dissipated into the nothingness which it truly is. All negativity and separation is gone. As we step into the light of divine love, as we open ourselves to infinite peace, as we make ourselves available to the realization that I am that Christ. I am that divinity. I am that expressing God in the world through that which I am, through my thoughts, my words, and my activity. that there is absolutely nothing that comes my way that I cannot fully and completely see beyond to the love that is there, the peace, and unify with it. I am knowing here and now that we are all one. That regardless of how a person appears as a character in a play, that play which is our humanity, regardless of how they appear, that this is not the truth of who they are. The truth of who they are is spirit. They are pure spirit. They may be ignorant of it, but that is who they are. Just because someone does not know their name does not mean they are not who they are. Little babies have to learn their name. And before they learn their name, they are still the divine being that they are without knowing their name. So just look at each person that you see who is acting in that ignorant, fearful way. Just know that they are like little babies who have not learned their name yet. And so we walk this earth in our Christed consciousness, in the awareness that the truth of who we are is bursting forth in all areas of our life. That we are doing the work within ourselves, we are loving ourselves, and we are being ourselves. We are allowing ourselves to be that place of divine peace so that we may be that in the world. We may represent the divine in the world by means of our compassion, by means of our caring, by means of our love being expressed in all corners and in all places that we interact with. And so I know we have the power to do this. I know we have the creativity. I know that the divine within us empowers us to do this work, to be this person, to love unconditionally. I know this is the truth of who we are. And I release it now, knowing that it is blessing each one of us and every person that we know. Every person within the sound of my voice, whether they're on this call right now or whether they're listening later, this is the truth of each and every one of us. It is the truth of those who know and those who do not know. And so as we release this word now into that law that manifests and knows how to manifest, we release it now knowing it is done. And with deep gratitude and thanksgiving for so much awareness, with gratitude for so much willingness to be that which we truly are, I release this word now and know it is done. And so it is. Amen. Oh, Jesus, sometimes I don't notice that. Okay. All right. Good job. Okay. Peace, peace, peace. Song.
Song. The song called Heart Wide Open, and what Reverend Dr. Sandra was just talking about, living from that space of divinity and love, living with your eyes wide open, your mind wide open, and your heart wide open. That's what we can all do to prepare the way. Oops. I'm looking ahead with my eyes wide open, with my mind wide open, with my heart wide open. Can you sing with me? I'm looking ahead with my eyes wide open, with my mind wide open, with my heart wide open. Some people live in fear. They do not want to hear the voices of diversity. I try to just let go, to live life in the flow of avoiding all adversity. So today I say, without hesitation, I'm looking ahead with my eyes wide open, with my mind wide open, with my heart wide open. I'm looking ahead with my eyes wide open, with my mind wide open, with my heart wide open. Some people live in pain, projecting out with blame. Their eyes are closed and do not see. I'm praying every day, affirming love, not hate, acknowledging God's tapestry. So today, let's say, without hesitation, I'm looking ahead with my eyes wide open, with my mind wide open, with my heart wide open. I'm looking ahead with my eyes wide open, with my mind wide open, with my heart wide open. I fill myself with peace and I send it to the world. I fill myself with love and I recognize the worth of everyone on earth, of every single soul. Together we are whole, together we can sing. We're looking ahead with our eyes wide open, with our minds wide open, with our hearts wide open. We're looking ahead with our eyes wide open, with our minds wide open, with our hearts wide open. We're looking ahead with our eyes wide open, with our minds wide open, and with our hearts wide open. We're looking ahead with our eyes wide open, with our minds wide open, with our hearts wide open.
Yes, that is what it is to be conscious. Okay, yes. Eyes, mind, and hearts open. Okay, so Marsha, take it away.
Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. So at this point, it is my pleasure to explain to everyone how to support our center. Oops, that's not what I want. Stop. It went too far away. Like, let me try that again. So I want to go ahead and talk about conscious giving. So let's see if you'll share the right screen, Zoom. Like, it's not my fault, it's your fault. Okay, I know. All right, it's on the wrong thing. All right, so consciously, I'm just going to talk to you guys. Forget about the slide because it's on the wrong page. So there's 3 ways you can give to our support our center. One way is to do it by mailing a check. If you feel more comfortable mailing a check, the address is going to be in the chat window in a second. If you would like to go ahead and consciously give online, we have a PayPal link. You can go ahead and do that. And then I always like to share with everybody that Amazon.com has a program to have charitable giving. What they do is if you go through our link, anything, the amount of money that you spend with Amazon, they will give a portion of that money back to our center. But you have to connect with us through smile.amazon.com. So That is how we're going to do it. Now I still need the slide to go ahead and say the affirmation. I am grateful for, do you all see that? Yes, hopefully. Am I sharing? I am not sharing. Okay, yeah, I'm just talking to myself here. All right, here we go. I am grateful for the divine giving is circulating abundantly through my life, my community, and my world. And so it is. Thank you.
I love it. The technology gremlins are at work today. Okay, so let's see. Announcements. Um, well, I have a really big announcement today. We moved our things out of our Douglasville location. The board's been paying for our meeting space since last March, and we decided that we did not want to continue doing that, given that many of us won't be getting those inoculations until late next year. And so we decided that we would give that space up if it's available and we still need it later, then, we'll do it then. But in the meantime, we're going to be looking for a new space that is really more appropriate to our needs, because that was something that we were planning to do anyway. So those of you who live anywhere in the Douglasville area, you know, going Douglasville and then towards Atlanta, if you find a place that you think would be suitable for us to meet on Sundays and, perhaps during the week, give me or one of the board members a call and let us know. And we can start, checking out places, because we want to be proactive, let me put it that way, and not wait until next August and start scrambling to find some place. Okay. From what I understand, it took us a while to find the Chapel Hill, location. So we don't want to wait until we get to the end. All right, so that's that. The other thing is our Christmas program is I put 12:30 next Sunday in the newsletter, but apparently other people had other ideas. So we're going to do it during church service next week. And I am trying to figure out how to do the candle lighting. And so if you would like to read something for me during the candle lighting service, put your name in the chat and I'll contact you during this week and we'll see how we can work it out. That would be like a part of the service. Okay. And we'll weave it in with I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to be very creative this year with our Christmas program. So let's see. And do we have any other announcements? Oh, I want to congratulate, where is he? Mike and Lily and Ajika, and Renee is not here, on completing the foundations course last January. And their certificates finally came. Ajika's holding hers up. She was yesterday, helped us to move. So Lily and Ajika got theirs, and Mike, I will be sending you yours in the mail. And we have had a number of things that waylaid us, and like changing mailboxes and stuff like that, and stuff going back and forth and getting lost and whatever. So the certificates have finally arrived. So congratulations on completing that course. Okay. Oh, the Atlanta Food Bank is also someplace, we really want to encourage you to give next Sunday. No, the 19th is Saturday. Next Saturday is the last day to be able to donate to that. Because we want to announce on Sunday how much we're donating to the Atlanta Food Bank, and their donation, we're going to ask them to donate a portion, the funds that we give to the Douglasville area food bank. And yes, Floyd is going to be doing the 4 agreements in January. We don't have a date yet. Okay, he has been out with he and his wife both had surgeries during November, and so they're both recovering. And so he has not. I've asked him, and he's gonna decide on what day he wants to start. Okay, all right. Depending on his health, he might start later in January as opposed to earlier. Okay, and let's see. I think I got all the. I think I got all the announcements. Anybody? Let me see. Who's this? In your chat, you people are chatting. People, let me see what you chatted. Anything I need to announce? Okay, so
Our journals.
okay. Oh, the journals. Oh yes, please do. We have gone ahead and ordered. We went ahead and ordered 20 journals, and so if you will, just go onto our website, not the website, onto the newsletter, and order them. We'd really appreciate that. And then when they come, we can get them mailed to you in time for you to have them in January. Okay. All right. So, have those of you that used them this year, were they useful? Did you like them? Okay. All right. Good job. Okay. All right. Let us do our closing. I don't know if you know about it, but this is Hanukkah. It started, I believe, yesterday, and it goes for 9 days. And so our closing video is Adam Sandler singing the Hanukkah song that he made up. He discovered that people did not know what Hanukkah was, and so he made up a song about Hanukkah. And so Marsha, take it away.
All right, everybody, we're gonna sing a song right now that you might know the words to. So if you want to sing along, that would be fun. Here we go. All right, Chicago. Put on your yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. So much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we get 8 crazy nights. But when you feel like the only kid in town without a Christmas tree, here's a list of people who are Jewish, just like you and me. David Lee Roth likes the menorah. So do James Caan, Kirk Douglas, and the Weasel Pauly Shore. Guess who is together at the Carnegie Deli? Bowser from Shanana and Arthur Fontarelli. Paul Newman's half Jewish, Goldie Hawn's half too. Put them together, what a fine looking show! Junto de Rosa, Shingle Baraka, Cashew can spin a dreidel with Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. Bob Hewitt! Put on that yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. The owner of the Seattle Supersonicers, whoops, celebrates Hanukkah. O.J. Simpson, not a Jew, but guess who is Hall of Famer Rod Carew? He converted. We got Ann Landers and her sister, dear Abby. Harrison Ford is a quarter Jewish, not too shabby. Some people people think that Ebenezer Scrooge is Willie's not. But guess who is? All Three Stooges! So many Jews are in the showbiz now. Tom Cruise is it, but I heard his agent is. Tell your friend Veronica it's time to celebrate Hanukkah. I hope I get a harmonica on this lovely, lovely Hanukkah. So drink your gin and tonica and smoke your marijuana. If you really, really wanna come, have a happy, 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 happy Hanukkah. Respect.
Well, if you get your DNA done, you may find you're Jewish too. A lot of people have. That's a fun song. Oh, well. Oh, thank you so much, Brenda. Good to see you. And Madeline, good to see you too. And everybody, it's good to see you all. Everybody be healthy, be wealthy, be loving, be wise, be divine. And thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming today. We enjoyed the music. Abe and Eileen, good to see you. It's good to see everybody. I love seeing you all. So anyway, you guys have a great week. Coco, you need to call me, honey. We need to talk. All right. Closing. We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world. Only good only good comes from us, and only good comes to us. And so it is. All right. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week. Don't forget, Atlanta Food Bank. Okay.